So we're going to go ahead and get started with today's class. This is Unit 4, Lesson 2, continuing talking about monitoring and controlling. Apologize for the crying baby in the background, but that is the reality of life working from home. So appreciate your understanding on that. Please come on camera if you're able. Would love to see your face. Before we get started, today's assistant instructor is the great Rascience. Rascience, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. So, Rascience, tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from here in New York, Queens, exactly.
Awesome. Great. And why did you join Year Up, Rascience?
I came for the formal experience and I stayed for the awesome people.
I love it. Great. And what is a question that you want to pose to the group?
Well, because I noticed that we haven't really covered investments as part of the investment operations tract, I'm going to go ahead and ask everyone the $1,000,000 question. If someone gave you $10,000 in January with the promise that you will receive an additional 1,000,000 at the end of the year, if you turn that 10,000 into 100,000, what would you do? And no, you can't just pocket the 10,000. Work with talkie clothes.
Ooh, I love this question. I love it. Before we answer the question, you can go ahead and put it in the chat box. But I forgot to ask you, Rascience, what's your fun fact? What's something interesting about you?
Well, even though I don't go to Subway as often that I think I should be considered a regular customer, apparently I go there often enough that the staff immediately knows what I want every time I go there, which kind of unsettles me.
So you're a regular at Subway. That is a fun fact for sure.
Really not.
Apparently not. All right. So looking at Rascience's question, knowing what I know now, you would buy Bitcoin, Brian says. So someone give you 10K in January with the promise you would receive additional $1,000,000 at the end of the year if you turn 100K. I'm kind of curious, what did Zoom stock go up to since January? They really grew. I wonder if you invested in Zoom, I don't know if you 10x your money.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be able to 10x it in the stock market.
477%. Yeah. Someone get 10,000. What would you do if you pocket 10K? Don't make an earnest after. Chris for soggy clothes. All right. What do you think you would do, Rascience, if you were given a scenario?
Well, work a minimum wage job, buy bonds, don't invest in the stock market. That's dumb, and probably take out loans. That would probably give me a good chance of reaching 100,000 if I really put in the effort.
There you go. That would be your plan. So Randy says sports betting. What? Oh, because you would know. Would you know like what teams won already? Is that part of the scenario, or is this just? No, you don't know. Okay, don't have that knowledge.
Straight up.
Okay. So Randy, what sports would you bet on? Would you do horse racing? Would you do ball sports? What do you think?
I watch basketball, like religiously.
Okay.
And then I have friends that watch baseball. He actually has a podcast, so he watches a lot of sports just to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So he knows enough to bet. So I would just go, half with him and bet.
There you go. I love it. And Tyrell, what's your question for Rascience?
If we use the 10 grand as a down payment on a loan for 100K, then do we still get the $1 million and then pay back the loan from?
You receive $100,000 in cash?
Would you still get the?
Would you get?
You have to have $100,000 in cash or in your personal bank account or anything. Just have $100,000 on cash on you at the end of the year.
Yeah, so a loan.
So then you would do that. You take the loan route. Yeah. There you go. Tyrell cracked the code. The question is, if you have 10K, is the bank going to just give you $100,000? It's have pretty good credit, wouldn't you? And do banks give you loans of that amount for nothing? Just for, here you go, here's 100 grand, have a nice day? I don't think so. Where would you go, Tyrell? Not necessarily a bank, the mafia? The loan shark? Yeah, there's options. All right, Rasign, thank you so much for your question. It obviously provoked a lot of conversation as questions about money tend to. So I appreciate that. So once again, he is today's assistant instructor. So if you have a question or comment, raise your hand, put it in the chat box. If I don't see it, he'll raise it, and I'll be happy to answer that for you. So let's really briefly, what did we chat about yesterday in class? I know that feels like it was forever ago. What did we talk about? Either raise your hand, your digital hand, or put it in the chat box. What did we chat about yesterday during project management class? Anybody remember? Alex is looking at his notes. I love seeing that. Everyone else, I don't know what you're doing. Implementation. Yes, Chelsea. What's implementation mean in project management?
You want me to say it?
If you don't mind.
Okay. Implementation is actualizing ideas,
Mhm.
putting them, trying to make them a reality.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
trying to.
Yeah, doing it. The execution phase. Yep, executing part of the project management. You guys want to NP project management information systems. Thank you, Alex. Do you guys want a freebie for your midterm this weekend? I'll give you one of the questions and we'll see if you get it right. Yeah, key input, key output. We talked about that video. Is execution the longest phase in the project management life cycle? True or false? Green check. It's true. Red X, false. Is the execution phase the longest phase in the life cycle of project management? I see 3 yeses, 4 yeses, 1 no. Someone's saying go slower. So the execution phase and the monitor and control phase all work in tandem together, and they are the longest phase in project management. That would be true for those of you who put true. So if you got that one right, you already know one of the 40 questions that will be on the midterm. So what I want to do today is I want to put into practice some real life scenarios that happen in project management. I want to see how you would react to those scenarios to test your knowledge and your leadership capacities of being a project manager. So the first scenario, we're going to do it at large. The second scenario, you're going to do it in a small group. The third scenario, we're going to do it at large. So here's the first scenario. You're leading a project team to build a new app that your company will use for feedback within the organization. You have a very lean team of only 4 people. Yourself, which in the scenario, your name is Tony. You have Mariah, who's the engineer. You have James, who is user experience. And you have Paul, who is marketing and promotion. The team works well together and you're delivering on time and under budget. So good job, project manager. You're ready to go live with the rollout and you're in your weekly stand-up meeting. Paul's role for the meeting is to create a communication plan with emails, flyers, and posts on Chatter and Slack to build excitement around the new feedback app. Yet he hasn't done any part of the project and hasn't even thought about it, which he never communicated to anybody before this meeting. You are infuriated and berate Paul in front of everybody. What were you thinking? This goes live this week and we have no plan. We're screwed. You really dropped the ball here, Paul. Paul snaps close his laptop, rushes out of the room, mumbling under his breath. You are sitting there with Mariah and James, who are both staring at the floor, embarrassed. You are as well. What do you say or do after this burst of anger? So any brave soul want to raise your digital hand and say what you would do after you lost your temper with one of your team members, yelled at him, he left the room, and now you're sitting there with the other 2 team members and everybody's feeling very awkward and very embarrassed. Anyone want to raise their hand? Or you can put in a chat, put your answer in the chat. Anybody want to raise their hand and tell us what you would do if you were the project manager? You just lost your temper. The project is due this week. Yeah, sure. Just give me a question. Give me a second to put it in. Anybody want to be a brave soul and go first? If not, I will cold call you. I hate cold calling people because I think it's, not fun for anybody, but I will. Sophia, thank you so much for being the brave soul.
Well, okay, so I think that, I mean, we've been taught in Europe from the start that you shouldn't handle, like you shouldn't, be irate or angry, or even yell, in a professional space. So even if the circumstance, is that, what's the name of Paul? Yeah, even
Paul.
if Paul, did messed up, and you're upset, like you should at least take a second to calm down and check yourself, because I feel like getting really upset and bursting out in anger like that is not a way to handle it. At least for me, like I wouldn't do that. So
Mhm.
I guess what I would do or say after, I mean, I would try to talk to Paul, I guess, and just maybe apologize for the way I was acting, but try to talk to him to see like what we need to do to go from here, to come up with some kind of solution or next step, I guess. That would be a start.
Great. So you're saying apologize and talk through a solution or next steps. But of course, none of us think that we're going to act this way. We hope we don't act this way. But when there's a lot of pressure on us as a project manager, sometimes our emotions can get the best of us and we do act this way. So thank you, Sophia. I definitely agree. Tyrell, what would you add to that answer? What would you do?
She pretty much said it all. I would apologize to the other people in the room first for my behavior, and then try to go apologize to Paul for my actions, but not what I said.
Interesting. What do you mean by that? Your actions, but not what you said.
Because his lack of effort really shows that like he has to do better. Like he's not putting in the same amount of effort that the rest of us are, and if he still wants this position on this team, then he still needs to work harder.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So you would apologize for the way you handled it, but you would not apologize for what you said because you stood by your words. Like he does put us in a very tough situation because this is due this week and his portion's not done, but everybody else's is. Yeah. Thank you, Tyrell. Chelsea, anything you would add?
Yeah, so I would give it some time before I try to talk to them. I mean, not that long, but a good amount of time. And then from there, I would try to take them to lunch or something and just apologize for the behavior, just explain it's a lot of stress and pressure. And again, emphasize the importance of the project. It's like, I'm just passionate. This is something that is important. I'm sorry about how I handled it, but yeah, I'm not blaming, but like try to say it in a way that it's just something that really does need to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And then after talking with him, then I would talk to the other people that were in the room and apologize.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad that both Tyrell and Chelsea also brought that up. Make sure you apologize to the others in the room. But all three of you have missed an important piece of this scenario. Can anybody catch it? Look at the sentence. Yeah, Dondre, please.
Can you hear me or do I sound like Mickey Mouse?
No, you don't sound like Mickey Mouse today. You sound good. You sound like Dondre.
First, not first, but I would also include a solution to the problem. Mm-hmm. So his work is not getting done. So figuring out who would do it if I would do it or how that would get done.
Okay, thank you. So look for solutions. Look at this. Yeah, Tyrell.
Based off of the example yesterday, it wouldn't get to this point.
True. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but yes, based on the example yesterday, it wouldn't get to this point. But look at the sentence after where it describes the team. The team works well together and are delivering on time and under budget. So up to this point, it seems like everything's going well. Paul's performing with excellence. He's doing everything he's required to do, but he just missed this one deliverable. So Randy, you pose asking Paul, why hasn't he completed anything, or at least this particular deliverable that he had? How would you approach that, Randy, if you were the project manager in this scenario?
I think it just goes back to just going over the plan. So you go over a plan, there has to be some kind of progress report or some type of check on the progress. And the fact that no one caught that Paul hasn't completed that deliverable this close is kind of, it raises some flags. So you want to ask him, what has he been doing?
Right.
What has he been doing with the time?
Absolutely. All right. So let's go ahead and find out things from Paul's perspective. Are you guys ready? You're on a project team to build a new app, and your company will use for internal feedback within the organization. You have a lean team of 4 people: Tony, who's the PM, Mariah, James, and yourself, Paul. The team works well together, and you're delivering on time and under budget. You're ready to go live with the rollout and are in your weekly stand-up meeting. Tony asks you about the communication plan, and it hits you that you had totally forgot. Your partner has recently contracted COVID-19 and is home in bed extremely sick. Your 2 children are also both doing remote learning, and it has been very stressful. You haven't told anybody about your challenges because you're new to the company and you don't want to cause trouble. Tony loses it and lays into you, and you have to rush out of the room and keep it from losing yourself. A few minutes later, Tony walks towards your desk and asks if you can speak privately. You follow Tony into a conference room, and he shuts the door. So now we see another ripple in the story. Okay. And what someone actually said last class, which I thought was interesting, if you wanted to, you can make Paul an intern. So here's a person who's on his or her, Europe internship. Their partner has COVID-19. Their kids are doing remote learning. They're really overwhelmed. They're really stressed out. They didn't want to say anything because they're new to the job and they want to make a good impression. So we're going to do a scenario. Each one of you are going to go in groups of 3. All right. One of you is Tony, the project manager. One of you is Paul, the team member who dropped the ball. And then one is the observer. All right. I'm going to give you guys 6 minutes to have a conversation, come up with a solution, and then come back to the main room and tell us how you accomplish this. Any questions on this breakout? So you'll go in, you can decide who wants to be what person. 6 minutes. So one person is the PM, one's the team member, one's the observer. After 6 minutes, come back in and we'll see how we crack this. All right. Good luck. Okay. Still waiting for a few more folks. Here they come. Hope you guys solved the problem. I see a big smile on Renish's face. So that looks like your team was good to go. I want to hear first from group 4. That was Alex, Justice, and Rescience. Who was the project manager in that team?
I was.
Justice, you were? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Justice, why don't you share with us what your approach was? And who was the employee?
That was
Science.
Rescience was the employee. Okay. I want to hear from Justice first, kind of what was your approach? And then I want to hear from Rescience. Were you happy with your project manager's approach? Justice, the floor is yours.
Okay, so my approach was that I had decided that to make sure we made it in time, that we divvy up Paul's work so we could, I guess, put less stress off of his back.
Okay. And did you say anything like I'm sorry or apologize, or did you just focus on the work, Justice?
I just focused on the work.
Okay. You keep the cards close to the chest. And Rescience, as the team member who got berated in front of everybody, what were your thoughts towards Justice's approach?
Although I would have loved an apology, I understand the thought process on why he would want to divvy up the work, and I'm actually grateful because of that. Because 2 children to look after, partner in hospital. Although Paul would probably want to still have the role as the marketing person, he probably would understand and accept this with grace.
Thank you so much. And Alex, as the observer, what do you think do you think the conversation went well? Were you happy with it as the neutral third party? Thumbs up. Okay, man, a few words. Also keeping your cards close to your chest. All right, so Renish, you came in with a big smile on your face. So I want to hear what happened in your group. Which person were you?
Oh, I was the boss. That was Paul, right? Or
yeah, you were the project manager.
Yeah, I was the project manager.
Okay, so and who was your employee?
It was Randy.
Oh, okay. And who is your observer?
It was Angie.
Okay. How about we start off with Angie as the observer? What did you witness between the project manager and the employee?
I witnessed that Renish was trying to understand Randy's point of view, but as the observer, I couldn't understand if Randy had contact with somebody that had COVID. I didn't understand why he went to the office instead of communicating with the team, because they're supposed to be your main support system. But then Randy also felt like he didn't want to make everybody wait for him or like destroy the project because of him. But then Renish told him that it was okay and that since we have time left, like we're good on time, he was gonna give him time for him to do what he needed to do since he been doing his work.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, Renish.
So I've actually dealt with something similar to this. So as a person I am, like I'm actually like laid back, super laid back. So I understand, hey, things happen. So without anyone's like understanding, like spontaneously. So I do understand that. And when it comes to the COVID part, since he had direct contact with someone with COVID in his household, company policy is already automatically, if you had direct contact, then you'll automatically need to quarantine.
Right.
But if it wasn't that case, if he didn't have direct contact, then we would need he would need to go to the doctor, have a note and everything, and then we could like give him home for stay. So what we came up with is that if he could complete these, it'll be like a lot more stressful for him. But if he's able to complete these 3 to 4 benchmarks by time the end of the week and the project isn't done yet, he can continue with the track with the rest of the team. But if he isn't able to, then he'll be kicked off the project.
Gotcha. So you gave him some like clear benchmarks to achieve by the end of the week. And Randy, as the stressed out husband and father of a lot going on, were you happy with your project manager's response to your struggles?
Yes.
That didn't sound very confident.
Yes. Well, I need this job because I have 2 kids and a wife.
Of course. You have a lot of responsibility.
Sure.
All right. Out of curiosity, did anybody like act it out? Anybody act out the scenario? Because it's always kind of fun to watch people act it out. If you want to.
We kind of acted it out half and half.
All right, Dondre, what role did you take, Dondre?
I don't remember the names exactly, but I believe I was Paul, the person, the husband. And
Okay,
Brian, Brian was the project manager.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Brian, Dondre, I'm gonna put myself on mute. Brian, you kick us off. You can say to Dondre, "Hey, Dondre, do you have a minute?" And you two can hash it out while we all be the observers, the flies on the wall. All right. So Brian, you're up.
Sounds good. Dondre, can we have a minute, please?
Yeah, sure.
So what happened, man?
Brian, I'm gonna be extremely honest with you. Things are really rough at home. My wife has COVID, and the kids are doing online learning, and they have to wear masks at home, and it's just such a challenge to really delegate everything. And I've been trying to do my best, trying to help her out as much as possible, but I'm gonna be honest, it's really stressful.
I get it, man. Everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own struggles outside of the workplace. But when did you think to bring this to my attention?
I'm gonna be honest, Brian. I didn't think to bring it up at all. I'm new at the company. I've only been here for 6 months, and I can't lose this job. Like, this is what pays for my kids' food. Like, this is how I pay rent. And I didn't want to do anything that would jeopardize my job at all.
I get what you're coming from, man. But for future reference, please understand that it's better to be transparent. I'm very understanding. If we knew this ahead of time, we could have assigned your job to someone else, or I could even help you, giving you a longer deadline. But think about it from my shoes. I was ready with this meeting with everybody, and you're not pulling your weight, and it was the first time hearing about it. So for future reference, please just bring it to our attention.
You know what, Brian? You're absolutely right. I know that you're extremely understanding, that you would have helped me out in any way possible. So next time, I will do my absolute best to let you know, to keep you in the loop. But Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I do apologize for embarrassing you in front of the meeting. I will get on this as soon as possible.
All right, so can you just give me an ETA when you think this is going to be done by, and what are you going to do to fix this?
So it'll take me about 2 days to complete the project and then 1 day just for revisions. So not more than 4 days.
All right, let's get to it.
Thank you so much, Brian.
And scene.
And scene. Wow, great acting. I have to say that was pretty good. The only thing that I would encourage Dondre to say is Dondre apologized to Brian, or I think Brian should also, give an apology to Dondre, because the reality of it, I mean, you can disagree with me, that's fine. But if you're like yelling at your staff and embarrassing them in front of other people, not the best way to lead, not the most effective way to lead. We're humans, we have emotions, we get frustrated, we get angry. Totally understand. It's just human nature. Anybody who's ever, lived with another person, you've yelled at your parents, you've yelled at your partner, you've yelled at your cat. We do that, right? We're humans. But definitely, I appreciate the acting for Brian Dondre. I believe you both deserve, awards for that. So excellent job. So is there one other person that feels brave that wants to be the project manager and I be your employee? Because I think that Dondre was too nice to you, and I want to make it a little bit hard for you. If not, I'll call on somebody, and you probably don't want that. All right. Hey, Precious, are you there?
Whoa, yes, I am.
All right, Precious. You're the project manager. I'm your employee. You just yelled at me in front of everybody. My wife has COVID. My kids are at home doing homeschooling, learning remote. And we're having a conversation after that meeting. So you're going to go first, and you're going to say, hey, Eric, do you have a minute? And we're going to start. All right. Put your acting face on.
Uh-oh. I got it. Hey, Eric, do you have a minute?
I do. What's up?
So, I noticed you haven't been, adding anything to the project. Want to talk about it?
Yeah, I think that's a really unfair assumption, because I've done everything that's required of me up until this most recent task, which was to create the marketing plan. But I've been pulling my way up until now, and I just made a small mistake. So I don't appreciate you saying I haven't been pulling my way at all. I've been pulling my way up until this. I just made a small mistake.
Cute. But you haven't though. So why you think I'm trying to talk to you now?
Well, to be totally transparent with you, Precious, I'm going through a lot in my personal life. My wife recently contracted COVID-19. She's at New York Presbyterian Hospital. She's on a vent. I don't know if she's going to make it. I might be a single dad in the next couple of weeks. And I have 2 young children. They're both doing remote learning. I think my parents live in a different state. So I'm trying to juggle all of that and get the job done. So I'm sorry that I missed that. And I don't know what to tell you. Like, life has been pretty tough right now. We're in an international pandemic and we're all struggling. So can you cut me some slack here?
COVID-19, and you still here at work? Well, you know what? You got 48 hours to complete what you got to do. If not, then you're fired. How about that?
Well, you know what, Precious? I'm an unpaid intern here. I don't even earn a penny to come here. So with your leadership style and it really lacking, I'm going to go find somewhere else to work and work at a place that actually appreciates me. So have a good rest of the day.
Oh.
And good luck telling your manager that you just lost a free employee and free 40 hours a week of work. That's gonna be a fun conversation. And later. Thank you, Precious, for being a tough manager. And unfortunate. Oh yeah, I should have fired my unemployment. Yeah, Angie, I wasn't thinking. But yeah, I was looking at the scenario like I was like a Europe graduate, and this was my internship. And yep, I just got fired from my internship. So, and then talked to HR. See, Angie, I should have texted you before I quit. Like, what should I do? Let her fire you. Thank you, Precious, for playing along. Sorry to put you on the spot like that, but I appreciate you being a good sport. Thanks so much. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take a 10-minute break plus watch a 5-minute video about Gantt charts. So I just put the link inside of the chat box. Come back at 11:17. You can go off camera, go on mute, and we'll talk about Gantt charts when you come back in 10 minutes. Thanks, everybody. All right, folks, we are approaching 11:17. If you're able to get back on camera, and would love to hear from some voices we haven't heard yet so far in class. So I want to hear first from Yoel. Are you there, Yoel?
Yes, I am.
So why don't you explain to us, Yoel, how would the situation that we just, described, where a team member didn't do their portion of the deliverable, how would that be avoided if there was a well-developed Gantt chart based on the video you just watched?
So from the video, I understood that a Gantt chart basically puts different tasks into a bar-like setup and sets them on a x-axis of time. So each task is already set to be done at a specific time frame, and therefore Paul's task would be able to be tracked, because whatever task was followed by his task would not be able to be completed, and therefore any deadline that he had, he would be able to see if he had completed the task or not. And so it wouldn't get as far as, coming to the meeting and not being prepared.
Absolutely. Excellent answer. I love it. Soraya, anything that you would add?
Actually, Yoel kind of took the words right out of my mouth, unfortunately. I wish you would have called me before him, but give me a second. Let me think of something, because I don't want to just say he took the words out of my mouth. That's corny.
Of course. What I'll do is I'll show you an example of a Gantt chart in Excel, and then after we look at it for a minute or two, I'll come back to you, Soraya.
Okay.
All right. So here's an example of a Gantt chart in Excel. I did not make this because I just don't have the capacity to do that right now. But what this is exactly what Yoel talked about. You have let me go ahead and get my annotate button. You have the dates up here. As you can see, it goes by every single day: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I just put it right here. Marketing plan is what Paul had to do. It's assigned to Paul. And then the cool thing about this feature, so we go ahead here. Suppose Paul was like, you know what? I'm 20% done. Do you see how that gray bar grew if he's 20% done right here? So it's kind of a neat way that you can just manage the project and everybody can have eyeballs on it. And let's suppose task 2 was, I don't know, user experience focus group. That was one of your colleagues had to do that. And she did that last week. That's done 100%. And we know that is cleared. So what I'm going to do is I'll put the link here into the chat box in a moment. If you want to go and look it up, genuinely, you can just Google Gantt chart Excel, and that will show you different models you can utilize, and people can fill in where they are. There's also a really great app called Monday.com. I'll put that in the chat as well. More and more companies are moving to that direction. The Gantt chart is becoming, less and less popular. That's neither here nor there, but it is an important tool or resource to have to make sure everybody stays on the ball. So Monday.com, and then there's also the link if you want to know where that Gantt chart is. All right, Soraya, anything you want to add to how a Gantt chart would help avoid the pitfall that we experienced earlier in class?
So it looks like a Gantt chart would avoid that because it gives you a way of checking in on everybody without having to verbally check in. So you don't have to really say anything. You can just, as long as everybody's updating their progress accordingly, you can check that way. So I think that's really convenient. And yeah, I just think this is a really cool thing that makes a project manager's life way easier. So definitely keep this in mind.
100%, Soraya. Thank you so much. That's a great answer. Because if you're the PM, instead of texting everybody or slacking everybody or emailing everybody or calling everybody and saying, where's your progress? And getting a vague, ambiguous, oh, it's coming along just fine, don't worry about it. You go into the progress report, you go into the Gantt chart and you see, oh shoot, Paul's behind schedule. The marketing plan is not done. I need to address this early as opposed to waiting until the week we are supposed to launch and it not be ready. All right. So we had the first scenario where you were the PM, where the second scenario where some of you were the team member who dropped the ball. And now we're going to go back to being the PM again. So we're the project manager. We had quite the morning. And now it's time to go back to the project sponsors and bring the bad news. All right, here we go. You're on a project team to build a new app their company will use for feedback within the organization. You have a lean team of only 4 people, and after a rough morning meeting, your team is finally back on track, but has accepted that it's not going to be feasible to deliver the app this week, but need an extra week of lead time before launch. You know that the project sponsors are going to be upset, but you have to deliver this tough news as the project manager. The project sponsors are Director of People, Juan, and Assistant Director of IT, Phil. You reach out to Phil and Juan to see if they can give you a 15-minute status update of the project. After some pleasantries, Juan says, "This week is the week. It's been so long, I cannot wait for the rollout of our new app." Phil chimes in, "Absolutely. I knew you were the right person for this job. What day of the week are we going live? I need to know what day I should order the champagne." And here you are, project manager. That's to tell Phil and Juan, bad news. It's not ready yet. We need another week. So is there a brave soul who wants to raise their hand and share how they would present that information to the project sponsors who are both expecting it to be done this week and it's not done? Tyrell, brave soul, the floor is yours.
I would say I appreciate your enthusiasm, and I also look forward to this app opening. Unfortunately, as a project manager, I'm not comfortable with the position that the app is in currently. So I would like to add another week just for minor touch-ups and a little more tweaking just to contain everything. And we should be up and running by next week. So champagne for next Thursday.
All right. Thank you, Tyrell. Can someone put in the chat box or raise their hand what they liked about Tyrell's response? And I'll start off by saying that one thing I like about Tyrell's response is he did not throw anybody under the bus. He did not say, "Oh, it's his fault that he didn't do his part." He just spoke in more general terms. Yes, Andre, what did you like about Tyrell's response?
He was very lighthearted about it. He didn't go into like extreme detail. Like you said, he didn't throw anybody under the bus. He didn't say what was wrong. He just said that he needed another week. But he also kept it kind of playful by saying, "Just order the champagne next Thursday."
Yeah, that was good. What else do we like about Tyrell's response, which I think was an excellent response? How about his tone, right? He didn't get upset. He didn't act sorry for himself. He just stated the facts. This is what it is. I'm not comfortable with where the product is yet. We're not able to ship it quite yet. Casual, neutral, stood his ground. He didn't contribute the delay to human error or science. Do you think that was a good thing or an area of improvement?
Well, whereas it would probably look bad for the project team if you stated that the cause for the delay was specifically a lack of planning on your part and a lack of full contribution from a party, one of the team members, it would be slightly wiser wiser in general to attribute it to something, to attribute the cause of delay to something else that would seem more, that would make the sponsors more comfortable with the idea of delaying the project.
Absolutely. Excellent observation for science. I couldn't agree more. What Tyrell had done is he said, "Listen, like it's just not ready yet. Let's just keep it neutral. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying it's not ready. We want it to be the best it can be. So we're going to wait another week and then we'll order our champagne." All right. We're going to have somebody do it one more time, but this time myself and somebody else are going to play the role of the project sponsors. So one of us will be Juan, one of us will be Phil, and somebody has to act out like they're coming to report to us that the project's going to be delayed a week. So is there a brave soul who wants to do that, or am I going to cold call somebody?
I can be one of the project sponsors with you.
All right. Thanks, Renish. Somebody want to, so you got me and Renish to deal with. Who's going to be the one who says, hey, I'm sorry that it's a week late. Sure. Let me do this. Why don't I put it in the chat? So I'm going to sit here awkwardly for 15 seconds. And if nobody raises their hand and says I'll do it, then we have a 1 in 14 chance, because me and Renish are the sponsors, 1 in 14 chance of being called. All right, Jose, I haven't heard from you all day. I would like to hear your voice. Can you please come off mute and be our project manager?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jose. Before you go, Jose, Renish, one of us should be the good cop. Okay, the understanding person that says, like, these things happen, don't sweat it. And one of us should be the bad cop that's like, how could this happen? You told us it would be done this weekend. It's not. Which one would you like?
I'm not too sure. I'll be the good cop.
Okay, I'll be the bad cop. All right, Jose. So what we're gonna do is my line's gonna be what days it's gonna be done. I need to know when I should order the champagne, and then Jose, you're gonna break the news to Renish and I that it's not ready. We need another week. Are you clear on your instructions?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and let's do it. Man, I knew, Jose, that you were the right person for this job to get this new app delivered to our organization. So it's Tuesday. So what day this week is it going to be done? Because I need to know when we're all going to be drinking champagne and celebrating on our company's rooftop later on this week. So what day we good for?
I think we should slow our roll and probably think towards next week on getting that champagne. The app needs a little bit more tweaking and development.
No, why is that exactly? What kind of hiccups are you guys facing along the way? It's not sounding too well.
Not at all.
Yeah, we just gotta finish doing a little TLC. Nothing like too big that we have to worry on, but we are trying to deliver the best quality of work before it goes public.
I understand that, Jose, but when we met 2 weeks ago, the three of us, you said this week was going to be the week. So like, why do we need more TLC? I thought we were good.
New project, new challenges pop up, and we're just trying to mitigate any possible issue when the beta actually drops.
Jose, now we do understand that it might take another week, but we did give you guys we did have a fair understanding in the beginning with what your team is capable of and what you're capable of handling your team. I do understand there may be hiccups along the way, there may be setbacks along the way, but if we were to launch this week, what would be like the possible risk we'd be facing if we were to?
It would be a security exposure. So I mean, it's up to you guys. Do you guys want to expose thousands of information from our public users, or just wait 1 more week and handle the situation now and avoid that kind of conflict later on?
All right, Renish, you're being way too nice to Jose. I mean, I understand project management, it has hiccups. That's part of the nature of the beast. You have people that are working together in different deliverables, but hiccups should not happen the week of launch. So like, whose head needs to go on the chopping block for this? Is there someone on your team who is slacking off that I need to talk to, Jose?
No, nobody's slacking off. If anything, I my head will be on the chopping block because I am the project manager, and it's probably an issue I should have handled way before.
Look, all right, we do understand all the mitigations you'll be taking, but we'll let you slide this time. But before anything else goes on, can you please send us like a sheet of everything that's done already? If you guys could keep us updated like 110% for this following week until app development and until app launch. Is that possible, Jose?
Yeah, definitely going forward, we could definitely set up reports just so everybody's on the same page.
All right, like I need that 110% because, like as Eric stated, we can't have people slacking and not pulling their weight on this project. We need everybody individual to be pushing as hard as they can, especially with this given extra week that we're giving you guys. All right.
All right, thank you, man.
Thanks, Jose. Wow, let's hear it for Jose and Ranish, actors extraordinaire. That was excellent. So, first of all, Jose, I commend you for holding your own. You know, you didn't buckle under the pressure. Have you had confrontations like that in your career, Jose? That are you used to that kind of verbal assault?
Yeah, I work in customer service, so sometimes.
Yeah, you're used to angry customers who are giving you a hard time, so you know how to kind of de-escalate situations.
Yeah, I try.
You did great, Jose. I'm really, really impressed by your ability to mitigate that, and Ranish as well. Great leadership and great guidance. So let's give Jose some feedback. Like, how did he do? I mean, he had to deal with me, the mean boss, and Ranish, the nice boss. How did he handle the situation? What do you think, Tyrell?
I thought he handled it really well. I like the part where he sort of diverted it from the human fault and said that it was a security issue and proposed an ultimatum instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good for sure. So do you guys think he made the right decision to not rat out his team member who didn't pull his weight? Because it really was his fault. It was Paul's fault that this isn't done. Was that the right move, you guys think? Or is it he should have been like, no, actually the reason it's not done is because Paul didn't do his job? What do you think? Anybody can just unmute themselves and share out. Sophia?
So I think that if it had been an ongoing issue, you know, where Paul wasn't, you know, pulling his weight like consecutively for, you know, obviously more than a few times, maybe then it could be, you know, brought to your attention. But I think, you know, considering he has been reliable, you know, and gotten his work done on time all the other times, I feel like he shouldn't throw him under the bus quite yet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, really good point, Sophia. Absolutely. And Rasanis makes a good point. If you threw Paul under the bus, the project manager would also been at fault for not sufficiently preparing. Yeah, because ultimately, like if you're a leader, if you're a project manager, like if things go wrong, guess what? You're the leader, right? That's just the reality. I mean, you can throw people under the bus until you're blue in the face, but you know, you're the one that's supposed to be keeping everybody accountable and making sure that's why the monitor and control is such a pivotal part of the management experience, the project management experience. There's a great leadership quote I love. It says, the best leaders, okay, the best leaders when their team when their team fails, right? Like the situation, their team failed, they blame themselves, right? They blame themselves. Like my team failed, I blame myself because I did not provide them the resources they needed to be successful. And the other side of the coin is also true. The best leaders, when their team is successful, they don't glow. Look how good I am. They say, wow, look how good they are, right? That's the best leaders. The bad leaders, their team fails. And what is it, Ranish? It's everyone else's fault, right? And then what happens to bad leaders when the team succeeds? It's all me, baby. I did that. Exactly. I mean, we all want to work for a good leader, right? Somebody who's going to push us, keep us accountable, you know, help us be successful, not for someone who's going to take all the glory for themselves or make all excuses for themselves. So that's what I have for you guys today. Rasines, thank you for being a great assistant instructor. Before we wrap up class, would you be so kind to just to read the deliverables, and then we'll call it a class.
All right, first you have the implementation discussion board, in which you have to respond to 2 posts by this Thursday at 11:59. Also, you have the Forgot San Francisco scenario essay due at Wednesday at 11:59. Also, at that time, at Thursday at 11:59, you have the catastrophic quality assurance due. And you will have your midterm, which will be posted on Thursday and will be due Sunday at 11:59, but you have the entire weekend to do it.
That is correct. Thank you so much for science. Just a quick reminder, there is no project management class on Thursday. There's an optional. You can come if you'd like to. You don't have to. Study group on Thursday morning, 9 to 10, which will be recorded. Guys, enjoy being with you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care.
Bye.
You have a question, Jose?
Oh, no, I'm just.
Okay, no problem.